Max, what do you want for dinner?
Justice.
When I was younger, I watched a whole lot of animated shows. Specifically, I enjoyed shows with a darker tone than other animated television, with great shows like Star Wars The Clone Wars and Transformers Prime making up a big part of my childhood. One of these shows was Batman the Animated Series, which featured excellent storytelling by Bruce Timm, as well as amazing voice performances by people like Kevin Conroy and Mark Hamill. So, when it was announced that Bruce Timm was working on a new animated Batman show with Amazon, I was intrigued but also very skeptical, considering Kevin Conroy would no longer be playing the Dark Knight due to his unfortunate passing. The trailer also didn't really excite me, though I was still willing to give this show a chance. So, after watching it, does it live up to the expectations set by its predecessor? No, not really. I don't think this is a bad show, but I can't really bring myself to call it good either. Batman Caped Crusader is a show that's sort of just there. It doesn't really succeed in anything it sets out to do, and it makes a few baffling story decisions, but it is still somewhat entertaining to watch. So, let's get into Batman Caped Crusader. The story follows Batman in his early years of detective work, as each episode shows him facing off against a different enemy. It was actually refreshing to watch an episodic show for once. It feels like so long since I've seen a big show that wasn't serialized and easier to watch on and off. The show still has a sort of overarching plot, but it doesn't really affect the show until the finale. Let's start with the positives. The animation is really nice, though I was never a fan of long-eared Batman. For the most part, the art style and character designs are really appealing looking, and the fight scenes are choreographed well enough. The real problem with this show is some of the confusing decisions made that overall hurt it in the long run. A few decisions in this show felt like they were just there for the sake of change and not there to actually elevate the show, such as this version of the Penguin being female, which doesn't really change that much and was done because, in Bruce Timm's own words, Batman had a lack of good female villains, which to me is a confusing statement to make. Batman has a bunch of amazing female villains, some of which were not used in this show, like Poison Ivy, as well as great female villains from the original animated series like Baby Doll, who had one of the most powerful episodes. But making the Penguin female doesn't really change much, and it wasn't really something that ruined the show for me. Now, what they did to Harvey Dent, on the other hand, Harvey's character was the thing that pushed this over the edge for me. This might as well have been a completely different character. In most versions of Batman's stories, Harvey Dent is a good-natured and pure person who just wants to help people, and ends up getting half of his face burned off for his good deeds. The reason Two-Face works so well as a villain is because it shows how Gotham can corrupt even the best of people. In this show, we're introduced to Harvey as a sleazy, rotten lawyer who doesn't really care for others, which then completely ruins his eventual transformation into Two-Face. The show treats him like a sleazeball up until the last few episodes, because the writers forgot that we're supposed to feel sorry for Harvey whenever he inevitably gets burned, with Bruce saying what great friends he and Harvey are, which is never shown to the audience. The worst part about this is that Harvey is one of the few characters in this show that shows up in every episode. If you don't like some of the other villains, then you don't have to worry because they only stick around for one episode. But Harvey's presence is constant throughout the whole experience. What's his most famous quote again?
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
That quote is the entirety of Harvey's character summed up as simply as possible. And it just doesn't work if he starts out as a villain. In summary, Batman Caped Crusader is a show that I don't think is bad. Like I said, I think the animation is pretty good looking, and I especially enjoyed some episodes like the one with Clayface, but that one major issue of Harvey's character being completely botched, as well as a few other minor issues, make this a show I can't really recommend. DC has had it rough for a while, and that's probably due to the complete change they're doing now that James Gunn is in charge, which probably ends up leaving a lot of leftover projects from before the change feeling half-baked. But hey, that new Penguin show is pretty good so far, and there's still that Superman movie we haven't seen yet, so maybe they can turn themselves around. Hey, I'm recording this later, I just saw Joker 2. So, yeah, look forward to that review. That's all I got for now. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends, and hit that bell icon to be notified for whenever I make a new video. The next review should be Black Myth Wukong, so if you're interested in that, or interested in supporting the channel more, then turn on notifications and check out my other videos. Okay, that's it. Bye.